Foreign device registration is a fancy way to allow a device to quote unquote dial into a site. Software, BMS software, wants to connect into a site, and instead of setting up a permanent connection, it uses a foreign device registration into a BBMD. BBMD is the one that would accept the connection from a foreign device registration, from a foreign device. And the BBMD would then know, okay, now that this device is registered to me, I will forward traffic from that device into my quote unquote site. Put in short, it's a way for a device, software device, to dial into a site to create a temporary or long-term connection. And the most common use is in BMS software to be able to connect to multiple sites at once. Let's be clear, we're talking about an IT router and an IT switch. So a BACnet router is very, very different than an IT router. A switch connects multiple devices to each other. It ignores IP addresses. It doesn't know about the concept of IP subnets. And it really just acts as a conduit onto a highway with lots of lanes. Whereas in a router will connect from subnet to subnet. So if you have a system that only has one network, one subnet, you technically don't need a router, unless now you want to connect that device to the outside world, because you can think of the outside world as a different subnet than your private network. Then you need a router to route between one subnet to another subnet. Switches act only on MAC addresses. It doesn't know about IP addresses. And a router only cares about IP addresses. So they work in conjunction. In small networks, you might be able to get away with just a switch. As soon as you have to connect multiple subnets for whatever reason, then you definitely need a router. Network segregation or network isolation or network separation is just a way to say that I want to divide up my network into different buckets, different categories. There's many different reasons for segregating networks. One reason could be security. I want to segregate the traffic that's going to my AHU, my air handling unit, from the traffic going to lighting control systems. Network segregation is also used to create manageable size networks. So for example, if you create one big network with tens of thousands of devices, it becomes very unmanageable. There's a lot of noise on the network. By segregating the network into smaller buckets and smaller sections, you're able to somewhat contain the noise and allow the management to be a little bit more focused. The V in VLAN stands for virtual. That means that you're able to leverage software to create isolated networks. It truly is creating virtual islands where the traffic in one island will never be seen and cannot go to another island. So you take one switch and you say, well, these ports is on VLAN A and these ports are on VLAN B, and then the other ports are on VLAN C. So you're using one set of equipment, but you're creating the equivalent of having 3 different switches in this example. Okay, yeah, great question. This is where we get into the different nomenclatures and shortcuts that we use in the BACnet world. Sometimes you hear someone talk about a BVLC or DNet or SNet or SAdder or DAdder. It's just because a few of us have been working the world of BACnet so long that we're short forming destination network into DNet, SNet from source network. These are different fields, part of a BACnet packet, more particularly part of the network protocol of the BACnet standard. But it's a way to say this packet is going to this BACnet network. If you only have one subnet, you don't need a router, nor do you need a BBMD. As soon as you have more than one subnet, you need both. If on multiple subnets you have BACnet traffic that you want to be able to cross over. You want to be able to discover a device from one subnet to another subnet. Now, practically today, there's very few systems with only one subnet, especially when you consider that most systems are now connected to the cloud. The cloud can be considered a different subnet than the subnet that's housing your controllers. In that case, though, you only need a router because you don't you probably don't want to be able to discover devices from the cloud into your private network and vice versa.